Gordon here for Autosavant, coming to you from the 2013 Chevrolet Camaro SS Hot Wheels Edition. The Hot Wheels Edition is a $69.95 adder, almost $7,000 adder on top of a Camaro that you can either get as an SS with the V8 or one of the other models, forget the letters and number, but the V6 edition. For that $7,000 you get a special, highly metallic, kinetic blue paint job, 21-inch wheels, additional logos, some parts from the high-performance supercharged version, including the rear spoiler. You also get a chin splitter, rear diffuser, and a few other sort of special options. From a looks perspective, it really is as close, I think, as any manufacturer could ever get in a production car to making a replica to a Hot Wheels car. You know, those 21-inch wheels with the red line sort of looking, you know, they've put red lines around the actual rims to make them look a little bit like red line tires. And the, of course, chopped-like proportions of the roof and the windows on this thing. It really is as comic book-like or as Hot Wheels-like as you're going to get in a modern production car. This one also has the dual-mode performance exhaust on it, which gets you 4 very large tips and one of the best-sounding from a factory V8 noises that you can buy on it. The 2013 Camaro SS comes with the, and I think it's a fair description, venerable LS3 small block Chevrolet engine that displaces 6.2 liters, makes 426 horsepower and 420 foot-pounds of torque when you outfit it with a manual. It's got a real limited slip in the rear end and generally is probably one of the nicest representations of a V8 engine and will continue to be so in the long history of the world. It has been said over and over and over again, but it is completely worth repeating that there is utter magic in General Motors' ability to continue to use push rods and lack overhead cams and make just, I mean, magical things happen with 6 liters of displacement. I mean, their motors are tractable, they make perfectly linear power, they sound great. I mean, it really is a very special motor. I mean, you could argue that, say, the 302 in a modern Mustang is higher revving and, you know, a bit more technological, and it's extremely satisfying in the same way that the 4.2 liter engine in a BMW M3 is extremely satisfying. But when, you know, you think American muscle, the Camaro SS, and in some ways the Challenger with the 392 in it, wind up being extremely special engines that are running towards the end of their life. You know, talking about this particular car, given it is the Hot Wheels edition, from a looks perspective, what I would say is the paint is just gorgeous. If anything, what I would do if one of these was mine is work to get all the stickers and sort of the Mad Hood stripe and the fake gills that are dealer installed and all that stuff actually removed, so you could actually enjoy the beautiful, beautiful paintwork that's been done on this car. I mean, that kinetic blue that's so highly metallic really is gorgeous. It's one of the nicest paints that you're going to get on a car in this price range. The 21-inch wheels look quite good. I actually like the fact they're big, thick spokes. What we learned is we took the Camaro drag racing, and we'll now segue to that.
Camaro counterside, the wagon. Lucas oil lane.
probably, like, if I got under 14, that's pretty good. And we're back from our drag racing piece. I do think that the 21-inch wheels do sort of take away a bit from the straight line performance of this car, although from what I've read, in cornering, the upgraded size tires, as well as the limited sidewall that they have on them, do quite a nice job of providing cornering grip. The rest of the pieces that make it up, the additional logos and the embroidery in the seats, is a little ostentatious for my opinion, but it is a car that's instantly recognizable and special. I will say that this car, if you're buying it to attract women, you might be cross-shopping sort of the wrong things. If you want something that you can drive into, like, drive-ins or your local car show, that's going to be very instantly recognizable and will draw quite a bit of looks, and will also be noticed by every 10-year-old boy for about a 40-mile radius, you're not going to do better. I mean, there are few things more garish and noticeable than a electric blue Camaro with Hot Wheels badging all over it. Talking a little bit more about just sort of the base Camaro SS, and this one with the RS package with the upgraded Brembo brakes and all those pieces. It's a car that's getting mildly refreshed in 2014, as we've seen, on Kelly and who is it? I don't even know. It used to be Regis and Kelly Lee. Anyway, they also released it at the New York Auto Show. Talking about a car that's going to have a sort of mid-cycle refresh coming, the Camaro as a sports car does feel quite good. It's, of course, as you've read probably and heard 1,000 places before, it's difficult to see out of. The sort of chopped profile of it is detrimental for being able to see your corners. I mean, that side of the front of the car, from an autocross perspective, just disappears. But, the suspension tuning of this thing is pretty good. From a handling limits perspective, what I've found is the front end has a tendency to wash initially, and then actually in constant radius it does start to neutralize, and of course with either lift-off throttle or throttle application you can start to naturally rotate the car. But honestly, how many times are you guys going to hear or need to know the fact that the Camaro's too heavy, right? At almost 2 tons, it weighs a lot, blah, 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 blah. I think what matters to me and my impression of it is wound up being the following, which is the SS Camaro compared to a GT Mustang or a RT version of the Challenger. The Camaro to me is in the middle from a sports car perspective. I actually do think that the Mustang GT, with sort of the track pack and the shorter rear end and manual and all that stuff, is a sportier to drive car. The Challenger is the least sporty of them and the most sort of traditional American hot rod, in my opinion. And again, that might be something that you already know, and it's of course sort of the battleground for internet forums and all that kind of fun stuff. What I think is interesting is when you upgrade this car to like a ZL1 and you put magnetic ride on it and you increase the power with the supercharger, it actually becomes the sports car of the bunch. It is amazing what suspension tuning and additional power, in all honesty, can do to this platform. It's a platform that has a lot to give. So it's an interesting thing to me that sort of, excluding the V6 models, the base V8 sports cars. I actually do think the Mustang is a little bit sportier than this is. But once you step up above this model, the Camaro sort of platform and chassis and the way everything's hung off of it, then can leapfrog ahead. And I will say, I do think the ZL1 winds up being a better sports car than the GT500. Before we wrap this up, just a reminder to subscribe, like the videos if you like them, all that good stuff. Autosavant KG on Twitter. But to wrap up the Camaro SS Hot Wheels Edition, what I would say is wonderful about it is the fact that it just isn't a car that takes itself too seriously. It also is a car that GM has managed to make as close to a concept car representation for the public. I mean, you just can't get any closer to sort of concept models than you can with this thing. You know, on the less than great side, sure, visibility's not great, it could be lighter, all that good stuff, but it is a very nice representation of the traditional sort of pony car, sports car, and it really is a enjoyable thing to drive. I mean, there's something that winds up remaining magical about a larger displacement V8, a real manual transmission, 3 pedals and rear-wheel drive. I mean, there's just something innately enjoyable about it that despite anything else that's going on with the car, every time you get into it, you start it and it burbles and sort of shudders along, makes you smile. So with that, Kevin Gordon for Autosavant. Look forward to talking to you guys soon.